Holy shit! You guys, the video responses, ow! Blowing me away. Skipping a joke. Okay, so, definitely confused me. I really thought when we hit, 6, for those of you who don't know what's going on, welcome to the world. Welcome to my channel. None of us do, don't worry. But to bring you up to speed, made a really stupid video about really random, potentially thought-provoking questions. Figured, 6 people might get back to me on this because I want video responses. And we doubled that within like 3 days. So, what? I'm so glad that so many of you made video responses. It was really cool watching them. Even the ones who weren't actually responses to me. But no, that was really cool. I'm so glad that a lot of you did it. And I think a lot of you had fun, so maybe we'll do that again. But I encourage you guys to do the exact same thing. This was fun. Let's do it some more. But since the rule was I needed 6 responses in order to do... By the way, I'm shouting. Fans, I love you enough to turn off the AC. Not enough to lose the fan. I'm sorry. So you're just gonna have to deal. Anyway, the rule was I needed 6 responses in order to give my answers. Definitely got that. So, without further ado, by the way, I haven't decided. By the time this is up, by the time you're watching it, you'll know whether or not this is going to be a one video or several parts, but we all know how long-winded I can get. This may be in parts. I don't know. We'll see. But, okay, so, question number 1. How are you? Well, me. You ought to know. Today I'm alright. I'm alright. Which is usually just my safe answer. It's my answer of I don't really want to tell you, but at the same time, I am alright. Because it can always be significantly worse. It could also be a little bit better. So, in a weird way, it's an answer that is both a lie and the truth when I tell you. So, sorry, I guess. Number 2, you can go anywhere in the world. Reality is not holding you down, but within certain parameters. There's no money issues, there's no responsibility issues, there's no obligations, no worries, no real world worries. Where do you go first? Who do you go with? Blah de blah de blah. Truth be told, if I didn't go to England, I'm pretty sure there's a little handful of people who'd be a little pissed off. Or at least a little offended. So, I'd go to England for a couple days, hang out with some cool people, family and friends, you know, that sort of business. But, once I was done with that, no offense England, I'm sure you're lovely. In fact, I know you're lovely. You've got very lovely people in you. But, the first place I'd actually want to go on this fantasy vacation is Amsterdam. Not for the obvious reasons either. I don't personally do drugs. I don't give a shit if you do them. My general philosophy on drugs is you do whatever you want to your body. Be it art, be it drugs, be it, pain, whatever you want to do, it's your body. But once a decision you make starts hurting others or ruining the lives of others, then I care. So, in general, meh. So, I'm not going for that. And I don't really like the idea of getting drunk abroad when I'm by myself, because, oh boy, just too many potentials for me to get into fights, I think. But I would, yeah. My life has become, and perhaps it always was, a pursuit of beauty. And not, beauty as I define it. Each one of us is going to quantify beauty very differently. To some, beauty is the fashionista world with, fashion and glamour and, expensive things. That's not me. To me, all of that is a gilded chamber pot. I'm not interested, and I don't find it beautiful. I find it all surface. It's not an offensive thing. I'm not, taking a piss on anyone who does love that. I don't care. That's fine. It's just not me. To me, beautiful is, what's unique and quirky and old and has a lot of passion in it, and or doesn't, you know, it just, I don't know. I find really random things beautiful. It can be a crack in the pavement, it can be an old tree that's, you know, hundreds upon hundreds of years old. But everything that I've seen in pictures, because I've not been to Amsterdam, obviously, I've not even been outside of the Midwest. I've never seen the ocean. This is a goal in my life to fix. Don't worry. As if anyone was worried. Really. But of what I've seen of Amsterdam, it is exactly what I'm looking for. It is just old, quirky, beautiful, and fascinating. And so that would be one of my first stopping grounds. It wouldn't be the only one. You know, as long as I have my camera and a full battery, I'm going everywhere. Anywhere and everywhere, I don't care. I'd rather stay in cooler climates, because me with the sweat and the ew, but I'll go anywhere. And who would I go with? I would rather not go with people that I love and have a personal relationship with, because though I love them, I switch into mother hen role if I'm out and about on an adventure with people. At least if it was my idea. I switch into this mode of the two most important things to me are you safe and are you having fun? And suddenly every decision I make has to factor into those things first before do I just want to take a walk on a beach and find a shell and take a picture of it for 5 hours. Which is not usually fun for the people in my life. So I would almost rather go alone, unless I were with someone who understood that this is just how Patty is. If she wanders away, let her wander, she'll find her way home, it's okay. Leave out a stake on the door, she'll be fine. Actually, not a stake, but you know. But if I have anyone in the world to go with, I want to go with Henry Rollins. I have loved Henry Rollins since I was like 9 or 10 years old. I was very young when I saw my first stand-up routine of his, which ended with a performance by Rollins Band, since I guess Black Flag was busy. But for, you know, going on 2 full decades, I just love him. I love, as an author, as a comedian, as a social analyst, as a tortured soul, and not from a romanticized perspective, though. I don't have this, you know, elongated pedestal perspective of him. I just see him as how he presents himself, which, granted, is still only so much compared to who he really is. I don't know what kind of toilet paper he likes. How do his farts smell? Don't know, don't want to know. But, you know, those real things when you actually know somebody, obviously not the case. But it doesn't matter, because I feel like he, for the most part, gives most of himself, you know, when he's out and about. He is Henry Rollins one way or the other. I don't feel like there's too much of a persona. And given that, what I know of him, I feel like we'd be into the same things. I would want to be going to the museums, the art galleries, the canals, the ancient this, the old that, the quirky that, the you know, the war memorials, all these different things, aquariums. And then I'd equally be sad, because on one level, aquariums are fascinating and beautiful, but at the same time, I got tough feelings about animals in cages. Like, if they were raised in captivity, that's one thing, but any animals that were brought out of the wild, not cool with that, unless they were injured and couldn't survive. It's just such a thing. But I feel as though he might be a pretty cool traveling buddy. We might be able to share a lot. And this is within a weird Twilight Zone fantasy land where I'd be someone of any remote interest to Henry Rollins. But not on a romantic or sexual level either. This isn't a crushy type thing. This would be purely, I think we'd enjoy time together, because maybe, just maybe, I'd almost not be completely retarded enough to be someone who could carry on a conversation with him and have him go, oh, she's okay. But we'd also be able to leave each other alone. That would be the other thing. I'm gonna go do my thing, you go do your thing, we'll meet back up at the coffee shop, that'll be fine. How was your thing? It was great! How was yours? It was great! So, yeah. Okay. That's enough waffling. No, it's not. We're only on number 2, Patty. You silly rabbit. Number 3! the sex change. If you could, if I had the opportunity to, in essence, if we're going by the parameters of the story, take a pill, go to sleep, wake up a boy, would I do it? Yes, absolutely. But my reasonings, because a couple people in their responses had brought up the fact that it'd be an interesting social analysis, and I could see that very easily, because most of the ones saying that were men, and most of them were saying either from one perspective or another, either they didn't want to do it because they know the shit women gotta go through, or they didn't feel like it would really serve a point because you're not going to have a firm understanding of what it is to be the opposite sex, because psychologically you're going in as having been your gender your entire life, and all of that is very true, a very good point. But I wouldn't be doing it for the social perspective at all. I am on that side of the fence that gets the sort of crap end with a lot of things. Not trying to go, oh yeah, women have it so hard, but it's kind of a fact, guys. And I on a regular basis deal with, even I am not top on the list that should be warranting this at all, but I get sexual harassment on a regular basis, I get belittlement, I get objectification, and some of it is done blatantly with the idea of, yeah, you have this coming because you're a woman, but some of it is done just genuinely out of the ignorance that, well, why is it bad for me to talk to you like that? Because I'm not a creature? Because I'm not a toy? Well, what? How did me walking in and looking at your breasts without even saying hello and saying thanks for the memories, as a complete stranger who has no connection to you in one way, one. My memory card is now called Janet, so anytime you see a text screen that says, damn it, Janet, A, Rocky Horror, B, fuck you, Janet. Yeah, no, I legitimately have these issues, so I know it would be vaguely different socially, but I don't really care. I'm not interested in that. What I'm interested in is in the physiological perspective. I don't know why I'm stuttering so much. Focus. Anyway, so presumably this is being done within the realms of a scientific experiment. So, it's not just some creep in a van rolled up on me and said, hey kid, you want some candy? Nope, I don't really eat that much candy. You want a sex change? Come on, it'll be fun. Okay, it's not one of those situations. So presumably everything I do is going to be under the eye of a microscope, and somebody's going to be documenting it, which in most situations would be a terrifying perspective, but that actually is comforting. That means I don't have to keep an eye on everything I'm doing, because this is for science and for my own curiosity, but also it would be interesting within the realm of gender studies and from a biological standpoint. But on a personal level, I hadn't thought about it until Dawn mentioned it, about how, once the girls are gone, that would be really traumatizing. It kind of would be. That's weird. That would just be weird. Maybe guys have noticed, and maybe not, well, not all girls do it, obviously, but in general, they're kind of like little stress balls on your chest. The minute have had enough shit, sometimes it's really comforting to just go. It's nothing, you don't get anything out of it. It's just okay. They're just there. They're your friends. And so for them to be gone, that would be a really weird feeling. But at the same time, I would probably... What I would want to do versus what I would actually have the guts to do, completely different. What I would want to do, because again, this is in the name of science as well as my own personal understanding, would be to engage in homosexual sex with a male on the giving end and the receiving end of certain aspects of it, so that when I woke up as a female again, I would have a far greater understanding of what's going on, how does that feel, which could then later be translated into my own personal love life with men. That being said, what I would have to... I would have to find a human being who was clean, safe, healthy, and was totally okay with the pickup line of, hey, I'm actually not a man, I'm only a man for 24 hours, you want to get jiggy with it? That's not gonna work out very well, and it shouldn't, because that's risking a lot of people's emotions, a lot. And that's, you know, that would be a really tough scenario. And how do you explain that? Somebody touched on this. You know, how would you explain that to future significant others or current significant others if you're, you know, currently in a relationship and this opportunity is presented to you? But far more, you know, a current one is going to be right there when it happens, is going to know what's going on. But a later one, you know, how do you have a conversation with someone that you love and trust, and they love you and trust you, and you finally bring up the idea of, hey, by the way, I was a man for 24 hours, and these are the things I did. Are you cool with that? Even the most trusting and honest and open souls might have a little hesitation on that one. So the repercussions of that on a realistic level might be too much. So I don't know. I would probably forego the sexual experience entirely. Just because, and ultimately, what am I really getting out of that? I'm getting an opportunity to be to be slightly more, thank you. I mean, good boy. To be slightly more open in my relationships and understanding. Fuck that. You can just get to that point without such an experience. So, yeah, I would do it. Probably wouldn't do anything sexual. Unless the scientists were, like, telling me to. And then that might get a little weird. And there'd be a point when I said no. So. Okay, now these are probably going to slide in and out of order because I've forgotten what order they go in. But since I'm the one who fucking asked them, I'm allowed to switch up the order. Number 4, I think, was, do you have any heroes? I don't actually like the word hero. I know, I'm the one who said it. Settle! OMG. I don't like that word hero. Hero is putting people on a pedestal, and that's not fair. That's not fair to the person being put on the pedestal. It's also not fair to yourself. To idolize someone is usually to put them, it's to cherry pick features and aspects of them and go, oh, I like all that. I don't like all this other stuff that still made them who they were. Just this. And for living people, that sucks. For dead people, that's alright. And for some people, they genuinely are all of those good traits and none of the bad, in which case, then it's safe. But most of us kind of suck. So, however, bless you, the people, Tango is going to get in on this. The people that I don't even like the term idolize, but the people, whatever, for argument's sake, the people that I idolize, they consist of Lou Costello out of Abbott and Costello, Mel Brooks, Patricia Neal, and the Three Stooges, and Buster Keaton. You see a pattern developing? And there are countless others, truth be told. I kind of wish there were more females, but this list, it's mostly comedians. Patricia Neal wasn't a comedian, though she was a funny lady. She's on it just because of her strength and her integrity. The woman had like 3 strokes and went back to acting. She was an older-ish woman at the time. Her body just betrayed itself completely and just went, fuck this! And bang, bang, boom. She had strokes, and yet she still managed to come back and performed. The subject was Roses, which is one of my favorite films, and I have no idea why, because I hate movies that feel like a New York play. I hate them. But, I don't know, she was a fascinating, beautiful, amazing woman, and much more importantly, she was strong and compelling actress, and she was just, you could tell there was a lot going on behind those eyes, and there was. Also known as Mrs. Roald Dahl. But thankfully not known as, stop hitting the tripod, please. Her history is not known as the husband, or, you know, her husband was this popular man. It was no. Trisha Neal was amazing. She was also married to Roald Dahl. Secondary thought. Anyway, so so many people have had to hear me wax poetic about Buster Keaton, but honestly, Buster Keaton and Lou Costello are the two that have the storylines that are just tremendously inspirational to me as who they were as people. You know, Lou Costello's son died in an accident at home, and that same night Lou Costello went and performed on the radio show. I think they were working for Camel. They might have been at ABC at that point. And that may seem incredibly calloused and horrible, but he did it because that night his son was supposed to hear Dad on the radio for the first time. He was old enough to understand that, ooh, that's my dad performing on the radio. And so Lou made the decision of, he wanted to hear me on the radio, he's going to. And he performed the show without skipping a beat. The audience had no idea. That blows me away. It really does. And with Buster Keaton, the man, above and beyond the torture that he put himself through physically in the name of art and his vision, I just love his direction style, and just, I don't know, just what he presents, how he translates it is fascinating. But man went through hell and got to have a happy ending. He really did. I mean, granted, some of the decisions were his own, but he went through madness and insanity and was at the very bottom of the barrel and managed to climb his way back to the top and die very happy man. That's awesome to me. Above and beyond just being a cool, nice person in his life, so I don't know. But yeah, so that's, I don't like the term hero, but there are people I look up to, and Mel Brooks is just, it's Mel Brooks. What hasn't the man done? What hasn't the man survived? And what genius hasn't he brought to the world? I've grown up just studying Mel Brooks and being just constantly fascinated and wanting to learn more. Hi.
Hi. Hi. Hi, Izzy.
The troubles of vlogging on the floor. I will be right back.